Christopher in the morning. Today is his birthday. 61st
Okay, my name is Ravindranath. I can't tell you all the stories, please, but I'll briefly explain what I did after my BTech. I completed my BTech, I went to IIT Kanpur and did my master's. After my master's, I joined National Chemical Lab at Pune, and as a scientist, I worked with Dr. Mashevkar, and during that time, for my work, and I did my PhD and submitted. I worked at National Chemical Pune and submitted my PhD at IIT Bombay. For the work I did, I got Ahmad Icon Award and also Young Scientist Award during that time. And I got a chance to go to Switzerland and do some work on fundamental work on micromixing and phosphochemical reactions. After working for NCL about for 10 years, I went to US. And for the past 25 years, I'm working at US. My main interest is in modeling, simulations, operator training simulators, process control, and right now I'm working at Chevron Phillips and Chemicals. One good thing in US is that you don't have to retire. You can work until you die. So I'm still working at Chevron Phillips Chemicals. That's all I have to say.
My name is Engg Christopher. I belong to Warangal. I am born and brought up here. I studied in Fatima High School for primary school and St. Gabriel's in high school. Then engineering here. That's why this place is very close to me. After BTech, I did MTech also from this college. After that, I went to IIT Bombay for PhD. But I left it in between and joined the job with Chemerson Private Limited in Wapi. I was a design engineer for them. I was responsible for that fermentation plant. Then I joined Garda Chemicals, one of the commercially driven plant, driven management. And then I worked for Armor Chemicals, which is the first antibiotic manufacturing plant in India. All these, at these three places, I was in charge of design and projects and troubleshooting. I left the job in 1993 and started two companies. One is Engg Process Consultants and Engineers Private Limited, and another is the Process Specialty Chemical, which manufacture nutraceuticals. Now we are going to start by next year Miracle Life Sciences Limited with the investment of 25 crores, which will be a pharma and specialty chemical plant. Hope for by this time next year will be on stream. And basically, I will spend my life totally in design and projects. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Rao, PM Rao. Mallikarjun Rao. This is how I was known here. But once I left my chemical engineering after I finished my MTech at IIT Bombay, I was known as only PM Rao. Somebody, one of my classmates called me, they were looking for me when I came to Hyderabad. And then my children took up the phone and they said, there is nobody called PM Rao here. So, called Mallikarjun Rao here. So, anyway, as you know, Venkat Changarali said, we also took chemical engineering, not out of interest for, say, chemical engineering, but it had 5 letters in the degree. That was unique. As one of my classmates puts it, that after doing 5 years of engineering here, this is only one degree where you get 5 letters. BTech. And then I know even MBBS, which was after going through 6 years of lot of hardship, it's only MBBS, 4 letters only. So we all said that, when Professor V.V. Somayasulu was doing the counseling, we all asked for BTech. So you mean you want chemical? No, BTech. So finally, it was, the mathematical part of chemical engineering was more interesting to me. In fact, I was more associated with the mathematics department of, RGW than even with the chemical engineering department. One of my very close guru was one PDM who taught us, he has your differential equations and this thing. So I had a passion and I had a very keen interest in mathematics. Then when I went to MTech at IIT Bombay, there also I found, an interest in optimization and mathematical related problems. Lucky for me, the moment I completed my MTech, I got a job with Hindustan Lever. Those days it was known as Hindustan Lever Limited. Now it is called Hindustan Unilever. I say I am lucky because that is one company where the moment you are confirmed, each employee becomes or starts thinking like an owner. Once you are confirmed, you are given, they brought me a blank paper and asked me to sign on this. It says that I am entitled for 200, shares of Unilever or Hindustan Lever at a very subsidized cost. And for that, I don't have to pay money. To give a loan, monthly paid loan, etc., etc. I was not even knowing what exactly is that. My boss told me, just sign it here. It's going to give you, it's going to earn you a lot of money when you can, preserve. That kind of organization. Still, in spite of all the encouragement I got at Hindustan Lever, I used to be very, very, maybe ambitious, I should say. At Hindustan Lever, we designed for the first time an industrial chromatography column, automated industrial chromatography column. The principles were based on the thermodynamics, adsorption, chemisorption, etc. What were taught at the thermodynamics class of, Sri Mohan Rao Garu, when he was teaching us thermodynamics, we recollected and applied those principles. His cyclostyle, thermodynamics book helped me in revisiting the principles of thermodynamics and understanding the principles of free energy, etc., and applied these principles in designing the first industrial chromatographic column in the world at Hindustan Unilever. I shifted to many places. I had an interest of visiting many places, understanding the cultures. Could be because at REC we used to have, in a class of 30, 15 were Telugu speaking and the other 15 were different languages. We were an integrated culture of the entire India used to be there in the class, in the 30 students listening. Wherever you go, this kind of culture you don't see, other than, maybe at that, level of, graduation level. This is one unique thing. Maybe that was my interest. I started traveling to many places. A lot of time in Maharashtra. Then, in Maharashtra I was with, after Hindustan Lever, it was Liberty Oilmills. And then it was Wipro. I was with Wipro for quite some time, both in Maharashtra as well as Karnataka, Wipro. And then I went to, in Nigeria. I was there for about 3 years. And then came back to India. I tried to settle in Hyderabad, but after looking at the industrial culture or the way, people used to be handled, the organizations were run the way I used to see here. I saw here. That was 1996 or so. I couldn't survive for more than a year those days. So an opportunity came to me, as again Venkat Chengavalli said, it was through Sethuram, through his acquaintances. I joined the Sanman group and I was there for about 6 years. And then that was in Tamil Nadu. Then I shifted to Kerala. We were there for about 1.5 years. Then again I had to come to Hyderabad for various my personal reasons, for my daughter's health, etc. And then in Hyderabad, again I took it as a challenge to see and understand and get acclimatized to this kind of culture and this kind of organizations. So I was here for about 6 years. In between, I went up to even Jammu, Chandigarh, traveled to many places, worked with organizations like pharmaceutical, uh, specialty chemicals, anti-feedants like so various organizations and various cultures. All said and done, right from my first job, where though I started with a little bit of disinterest in the chemical engineering, when I came to know that T. Thomas, who was the chairman of Hindustan Lever Limited, was just a chemical engineer, no management degrees, nothing. He was just a chemical engineer from the Alumni University. And he was the first director on the board of Unilever, first non-European director on the board of Unilever. And he was the first, top executive of the organization. He was the first whom I met as the CEO of a organization who used to communicate with all the employees at various levels directly. An interaction that I could see starting from the first level of the organization to the final level this thing. And there was such an integrity and later on this gentleman Mr. Vindi Banga, who was a classmate of our Venkat Chengavalli, he started his career as a trainee and he became the chairman of Hindustan Unilever later, about a decade back almost. From there, when I learned about Jack Welch, who was just a chemical engineer and who was the top class executive or the best executive in the world of an organization called GE, etc. And he was just a chemical engineer, and then he did his masters from Illinois University, and then his PhD also in chemical engineering. And he went on to become the topmost executive of a top class organization. So there is nothing like chemical engineering or mechanical engineering or whatever it is. If we have the passion, I just wanted to add what Venkat has been. I wouldn't be able to make it as interesting or as exciting as Venkat, but I just wanted to say that finally, chemical engineering and RSC has given me an opportunity to travel across India, understand various cultures of Indian, various states, various languages, how people speak, and it has been very, very satisfying and fulfilling. Thank you all. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Good afternoon. I am Sethuram, again from the same 76 batch. I more or less followed Venkat in academia because, like Mali said, that when we came in, I came with my father here, and when we were looking for an accommodation, we couldn't get some accommodation in the dorm. We just came and stayed in the guest house here. And Kirpalani was the principal, and Somyadil was the counselor. And I went and asked, what do you want to take? And they also said BTech. The funny thing is that soon after we take the course, our child, he said, at that time, electronics and communication engineering was very popular. And he said, why are you not taking it? I said, no, they got more letters, BTech, and good. So when I came out, everybody will be standing out and they will ask what I have done. And they said, okay, BTech chemical engineering. So I think the thing went to some 5 levels. And the 10th level, who never imagined that you would get an electronics and communication engineering, got it. And so he was very thankful to all of us. And all of us are from the intermediate batch. And my first English medium was my BTech. I studied Telugu medium. And every science subject, math subject, everything in Telugu. rather than possibly telling a little bit on the biodata. After finishing I am Ahmedabad, and unlike possibly Venkat, I stuck on to the core subject of chemical engineering. So I worked mostly in all chemical engineering companies, and I was recruited by Hex to be posted in one of their joint ventures called Polyolefins with Mahurlal. I did quite a bit of work with them on the polymer field, polymer petrochemicals, plastics arena, plastic products arena, which took me to several universities in the US. And I'm glad to say that I am one of the very few fortunate to have met most of the professors who wrote our chemical engineering books. I have met Bird, Stewart, and Lightfoot at Wisconsin. I met Kafur at Purdue. I met Groggins. Groggins was a consultant to FMC Corporation, with which we had a joint venture in the Sanmar Group. McCabe from North Carolina, McCabe and Smith, famous McCabe and Smith, McCabe at North Carolina. We were doing quite a lot of work in plastics compounding or plastics composites, and that took me to all these people. And I must admit that both Mohan Rao and S.P. Rao, they were iconic in our days. There is one fantastic thing which I would like to tell about Dr. Mohan Rao, then Mohan Rao. He used to teach at thermodynamics and kinetics. Mohan Rao's class used to be inspiration really for all of us. He would start the class from the left-hand top corner of the board, and by the time he finishes, he would have finished on the right bottom corner. And if you really take that note, you have more or less scored A+ in all your exams. And that used to be the power of his teaching. And I mean, more than anything else, just to see whether one day he would possibly leave 1/4 of the board blank. For doing that, we used to go to the class regularly. And that used to be the case. I worked in several corporates, into several engineering fields, like Venkat calls engineering management. I was also involved in a few of nationalistic importance projects. There was a point of time when, in the beginning of 2002 or 2002, there was a danger of almost a similar kind of a Bhopal gas tragedy kind of thing in Chennai. And I was involved in a huge hazard mitigation job, rescuing the entire city from a possible phosgene pollution done by somebody else. And so I was some kind of a chief project doing that. I was also, thanks to Venkat again, as he said, there is a very invisible bonding between the RECians or REC, whatever you call them, Enlightians. There is an invisible bonding. He put me on to Dr. Abdul Kalam, and I met Dr. Abdul Kalam. The India doesn't have potash as a fertilizer. India imports all the K requirements from God. So during one of my searches, I identified a possible reserve of potash somewhere in the run of Kutch in the Gujarat region, and we were trying to extract potash and make potassium sulfate as a fertilizer. So I went, Dr. Kalam was the head of Department of Science and Technology at that time, and went and met him, and he just then retired as the president of India, and then he was. So I asked him, this is the project we are doing, what do you think about it? And he said, Yeah, I have been to Ran of Kutch. Why didn't India think of this harnessing this resource? I was bold enough to say to him, sir, that's your job, and country, you should have done it, or people should have done it. But now we are trying to do this. Let's do it. He said, yes, I will give you entire support, and he instructed the Department of Science and Technology to provide all the support. Yeah. Couple of quick social initiatives that we do. The batch of IIM that we pass out, we run a social organization called Impact. This promotes tribal girl education in a few states, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, in the northern border. We have fairly good corpus, we have fairly good participation, we run this. My family of cousins, we run again similar girl education centers in Tamil Nadu. We support the teachers. We don't support children. We choose the children and support them. I've not come to RSC after passing out. I think I must have come 2-3 times. Thanks to Dr. Venu and Dr. Paidicity, and I was in the board of studies along with Dr. Krishna. Krishna was incidentally Dr. Krishna, who retired as the professor of chemical engineering at IIT Madras and now the emeritus professor, was actually my roommate and some kind of a ragging protector. When I joined in first year, he was in fourth year or so. And Krishna, the institute, what we are today, as Venkat put it, what we are today is essentially due to the excellent caretaking, imparting of education, and imparting of a roundup of goodness that the professors gave us, the institute gave us, the environment gave us. Not that we did not have difficulties. We learned how to take bath with a mug of water. And, not that we did not have difficulties. We had lots of difficulties. But I think the institute gave us the full rounded education and rounded human being nature. And we are all thankful to the institute. We would like to give back whatever we can to the institute. At this stage, I would like to make a few possible announcements. In our batch, we were about 30. I think 2 dropped out, and we can't trace the 2. And 2 of our batchmates are no more. We had a very good friend of ours called Dr. Kameswarao, who was with us. We were all together. Ravi and I were in the opposite rooms. Malia and I were next. In fact, just in the afternoon, we were seeing 2313 and 2314. We were in the next room. We are planning to set up an endowment fund in the name of Dr. Kameswarao. I'm trying to collect roughly about $10,000 just to start with. We should be through with this in about a week's time. I will sit with Dr. Venu on how to utilize this fund for the betterment of the chemical engineers and chemical engineering department. That's one. The second announcement that I would like to make, this is purely from my personal, this is from the batch of 76 chemical engineering. We want to create a Dr. Kameswarao endowment, and we will all pull in our money, and then we'll decide how to place it and how to use it, along with the. From my end, I would like to, from my personal capacity, life has been good, thanks to REC. I would like to contribute from my end a deposit which can earn about 12,000 to 15,000 rupees interest every year, which I would like to give it to the best girl chemical engineering student passing out of the institute. Not necessarily only in academics, but the best all-round student, to be selected by the head of the department and one more professor. Every year we would like to do it. This is purely from my end. And We would like, as I mentioned, we would like to give back to the institute whatever we can, and we will strive our best to do that. Thank you very much for providing this opportunity. Thanks a lot. Pardon? No, there were no girls in my batch. I mean, that what you are asking?
No, the girl is not there in the batch.
The girls is not
There will be girls.
It passes to the next girl, next batch girl.
Otherwise, boys.
Huh? No. Let me clarify very clearly. I think, let me clarify this very clearly. If the girl is not there, it goes to the next girl of the next batch. The idea in giving this to the girl student in chemical engineering is one, we never had any girls in our batch. So that's one. Even I think Venkat's batch did not have the juniors also. Relatively a very dry batch. Number one. Number two is that.
That's why this announcement is it?
Pardon?
That's why this announcement to.
No. I have not yet come to the announcement. Okay. The number two is